Hi, I'm Madeline from Sheen Slings, and today I'm talking about where on your body you should put the waistband of your carrier. So really when we're thinking about this, there are two main things to consider. The first one is the size of your baby. So let me get one of my pretend babies. This is Selena. She is the size of approximately a 6 to 8 week old. So if I get her comfortable in my arms, about where I would carry her in a sling or in my arms, and you can see her, I would place her so that her head is on my chest, on the hard part of my chest, rather than the squishy bits. So I know that she's not going to have a problem with her breathing. And also at a height where I can easily monitor her, I can easily cuddle, kiss her, I can see that she's breathing, that her face is clear, etc. And in order for her head to be here, where I want it to be, her bottom needs to be here. And that means the waistband of my carrier needs to be directly where her bottom is. So for her bum to sit here in the carrier, the waistband is going to sit approximately here. And you can see that is right under my boobs, quite high on my body. You can see if I step back all the way there for her. And then as she grows, this is Patrick. Patrick is the size of approximately a 6-month-old. And again, on my front, I'm going to want his head in the same place as I had Selena's. And then I let him sit comfortably and measure where his bottom is. The waistband would now go here. So if I move him away and take a step back, you can see now that is a fair bit lower. And that's on my front. For Patrick, of course, he is over 6 months old. I could wear him on my back. Now on my back, I'd actually want him higher again, so I could monitor him, so I could chat to him, and so he could see over my shoulder. So if I move Patrick over to my back and get him at a comfortable carrying height for him and me, so he can see over my shoulder, and I try and stand up now, you can see that now the waistband would need to sit here again. So again, directly under my boobs, so much higher. But then again, as Patrick grew and his back got longer, that waistband would come down once he was, say he was a year, 2 years, 3 years, I could move that waistband down and he would still be able to see over my shoulder. So the first thing we need to consider is where the waistband needs to be in order to give a safe carrying height for the age of our child and the position we are carrying them in. The second thing we need to think about is our body and our ability to weight bear. So everybody has something that I call a biting point on them. And by that I mean a point on their body where if you put a waistband, you will transfer the weight into their hips. So often when I'm talking to parents, they'll say, I've got a sore back and so forth, I need the weight to go on my hips, and they're dead right. Our pelvic girdle is designed to carry our entire upper body and anything we're carrying. It's designed to load bear. It's designed to take that weight while we walk. So it's an incredibly strong part of our body. And we do want to put that additional weight of the baby onto our pelvic girdle, and a good, well-positioned waistband will do that, but you need to get it in the right position. So often parents think because they want it on the weight on their hips that they need to put the waistband on their hips. Now the best way to test where the right point in your body is to take your hands and push down firmly in different places. So now if I start on my hips, where people often think they need to put the waistband, and I push down, you can see, if I can even step back, you can see as soon as I push down, my hands slip and slide off my body. And the reason for that is really it's too low to put the weight on my pelvic girdle. My pelvic girdle is designed to carry the weight that is above it. So in order to put weight onto my pelvic girdle, I need to be above it. So if I start testing higher, you can see I'm getting a little bit more traction here. And then when I get to here, I get a lot more traction. So I can really feel as I push down here, that weight sitting on my pelvic girdle. As I go higher, I don't get as much grip. I have my biting point is here. I show you mine so you can help find your own, but it is not the same for everyone. So I really invite you to take your hands and do this test now and find where your biting point is. On women, it often tends to be somewhere around their true waist, but We all have our true waist in different places, so do find it. On men, it tends to be more of a zone because men tend to have a straighter waistline and less pronounced shape. They tend to have a bit more of a zone, but again, it is possible to put a carrier too low or too high on a man. So again, please take your hands and find where your point or your zone is. And men, it will often be lower than women. So if you're sharing a carrier with a member of the opposite sex, don't be surprised if you're putting it in a different place. Don't judge the other person. It will be different on a man versus a woman. And it will be different on different women, and it will be different on different men. But take the time with your hands and find where your biting point is, because you will be much more comfortable wearing a carrier in your biting point. So while for a smaller baby, I may encourage you to wear it higher than your normal biting zone. As your baby puts on weight and you're carrying for longer and they're heavier, you will be a lot more comfortable. Your back will be much more protected to have that carrier in the right place for you. And then once we have found that place, it's also key how you put this band on. So if I just clip it in here, there we go, snap. It's key to have this nice and snug. And the reason for that is if I show you it too loose. So if I start to loosen this off, so I've loosened it because see, it's not even moved. But as soon as I put weight in it, it sinks. Now, if I put my baby in here now, what's happened to their head? It is much lower. And not only that, as I push down, you'll see that this carrier is now digging in here and digging in there. And that's tipping my pelvis out of alignment. So it's really key to get this snug, nice and snug. Snug enough that now if I push down, I'm getting very little movement. And I also want to have this parallel to the ground for exactly the same reason. If it's not parallel to the ground, it will start to tip my pelvis and that will be less comfortable. I need to make sure that this is snug and parallel. I emphasize that because a well-fitting waistband is a foundation of any carry. If you have not got the waistband right, anything else you do with the shoulders, how you tighten, won't feel right. You'll never get it quite right. You will never be as comfortable as if you have this. I remember I once was trying to explain this to a family, and the dad said, "Oh yeah, I was in the army, and the way we would get, we had these massive things to cover with these huge backpacks. You just had to just yank the waistband as tight as you could get it." It's exactly that. To carry the weight, you need to get this snug. Not as tight as you can get it. I want you to be able to breathe, and I don't want it to be digging in because that's going to be uncomfortable. But it needs to be snug. Breathing space, but no wiggle room. Hope that helps.